Hi guys, it's Tibbs from Purple Newbie Juice. I got a collection of postcards at a tag sale a while back, and I made a couple videos about it. But since then, I've actually gone through a bunch of them, put a couple piles aside, and a third pile. And I just wanted to go over some of them with you because they're so interesting. I kind of did a lot of research on the subject of postcards, and some of it I didn't find out too much about. Some of it I found a lot about. But anyways, I just want to show you a small pile of them, and so that you guys can see what I'm enjoying. So, anyways, we're going to start off with this. I guess it's a '70s made in Japan um, postcard. It's 3D. They're pretty, they're interesting and everything. It's more, I would think, a novelty type card. There's this one, and then there's this one here, which is really, I think, beautiful. Also with the sail, the wind and the sails, and the sky in the background, and the waves. And there's just a couple seagulls in there too. But like I said, they're from like the 1970s, made in Japan. But then we want to move on to this one here. This one is just from March 13th, 1907, handwritten right there. Small picture, laid on a card, and there's a letter to somebody. That something about Bill and Ida have been published, and I'm not sure what exactly the story is about, but just look at the way they just threw a picture in there. It might even be them, I'm not sure. And then on the back side, you got the postage stamp and the address. Really cool stamp there. All right, and then we'll move on to something that doesn't really exist anymore. It doesn't exist anymore other than the location. Is the Old Man in the Mountain, in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. And that's what it used to look like years ago, and I can remember seeing it probably in the 70s when I was a kid. I'm not sure if I could actually if I could see or make out the face when I was that young. I've since been back, so I'm not sure what exactly I'm remembering. But this is from 1932. And then we have another one here that is the Old Man on the Mountain. And this is made of almost like a cloth. And this is the part where I had researched, and the guy actually didn't go into detail about the material. I don't know if you can see how it has that greenish look to it. But some of the cards I'm going to show you, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing this, but are really, really cool. I like this one here because it's a photograph of Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming, and this is the Old Faithful Geyser. I guess it's a pretty popular subject now because of all the hype that's going on out in Wyoming about possible earthquakes or volcanic activity. This one is unused, but definitely old. And then we have this one here. It's a postcard, and it has the 1 cent. It's not even used. I'm not sure what year it is, but it's St. Peter's Beach, Florida, and that's that cloth material too. It's kind of cool. I came across this in the pile, and it's beer and children. Children who drink beer sometimes become so stupid and sleepy that they can't study well and get the lowest records, most likely being grades. After learning to drink beer and wine, children desire more and more of it and are soon seriously injured and healthy and become liable to disease. Point number 4, Massachusetts Total Absence Society, and then it gives the address there from Boston. It's kind of they're using children as an example, and I think that's basically calling an adults children when they abuse the drinking beer and alcohol and so on and so forth. So anyways, and then we move on to this. This is 1965, so I was 2 years old then. And this is an advertisement for a bait shop. The fish are biting good. And it's John Vado's Bait Company, Spring Lake Park, Minnesota. But it shows up two guys on a large branch overhanging a lake, and it looks to be like a couple either pike or muskies grabbing the guy's legs. It actually looks like one of the legs are torn right off his body, and the other one's got the leg as he's chomping on it. He's knocking over the canoe that they must have fled from. It's kind of sinking there, but that's kind of cool from the 60s and having that technology back then to fake these photographs. It's funny how I remember those Lincoln stamps, and I always thought it was part of my stamp collection, but yeah, it's probably going to the mailbox for my mom or dad and grabbing the mail and seeing them. Now this one is just of a woman, very beautiful, nice hat, and the way she's standing there, the way the photographer did this. I don't know if it was just the way it came out back then, or if it was actually meant to have that faded outer edge look to it, but very, very, very nice, really cool kind of postcard and unused. And here we have an older photograph of another postcard. This is dated, let me see, I think it's not as old as I thought. I think it's 31 or 32. But it's not covering the whole card, and there's a reason why I said that, because a lot of postcards date from 1907, I believe, or I want to say 7 to, no, maybe it's 3 or 4 to the 17th. I forget exactly. I'm sorry. I think it was during World War I or II that the reason why they have these wider or the white borders on them are because of they needed to save ink for the war efforts and stuff, and instead of having the cards be, for instance, if this was a print, maybe it is, but how it goes all the way to the outer edges, takes the full length of the or full width of the card. They bordered them to preserve ink. This is what did I do with that? Anyway, this one here. This one is the American Falls, Skyline Towers, Rainbow Bridge, and American Falls. It's part of Niagara Falls. I thought I read somewhere, but yep, Niagara Falls, Canada. Anyways, and then there's this one snuck in there somehow. This is not from around here. And advertisement is big in collecting of postcards. And here's a Texaco one. This is Bristol, Virginia, Rankin's Tourist Court. It's got the old Texaco gas station, unused. And then we have this Pete's Air Conditioned Cafe, Air Conditioned Pete's Fountain Service. It's kind of cool. And that's from Missouri, 314 Main Street, Missouri, in Boonesville. It'd be kind of interesting to know whether or not that's still there. I'm sure the building's there, whether it's being used today for a restaurant. It would be interesting to know, but that's also an unused one. And then we have some more of the cloth type material. This one's the skyline of Atlantic City, New Jersey. So that's kind of cool, unused. And here's another controversial photograph of the South Dakota Black Hills of Mount Rushmore. By the looks of all the rock that's at the base of that, it seems like that was done probably soon after they made them, with that tailings pile off of the carvings. This is unused, and interestingly enough, this one is made of cloth, or that textured material, and this is 1951. But I guess there's some kind of voices out there that want one of those pictures removed, and I can't remember which one it is, but that's a little, it's part of heritage, it's part of America, and they need to get over that. That's my opinion. And then we have this one here. This is North Huntington, Indiana. Look at the old cars, and I don't know if it must be a actual photograph that was transferred onto this kind of cloth material. But those are some like 20s, 30s vehicles, I would guess. Maybe it's even earlier, in the 1900s, early 1900s, not the 20s, maybe the single digits and teens. But I think that's pretty cool. And just looking at the old advertisements on the signs hanging from the streets, and the cars and the people, it's seems a lot more laid back then, but obviously with all the cars parked on the side, people had things to do. And this is from 25. All that little chicken scratch writing there. It is illegible. I think I read it at one time, but I can't remember what it was about. And we have another one here with rippled edges, wavy edges on it. And that's the dollhouse, the blue room. There's a overlooking the outside. You can see in the ballroom area. And I'm not sure where this is. Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah. Another one with the cloth material. I believe this was from Florida. Obviously a drawing, painting. But this is the Sunshine State of Florida. Oranges and blossom in the Sunshine State, Florida. And that actually is from 1948. So that's kind of cool. This one here is a photograph. And I believe this is California. And it's kind of cool because I don't picture California being, looking like it's part of New Hampshire or Massachusetts or whatever. It's, got birch trees overhanging the road with a bridge there, and obviously a brook running through. It's kind of cool. It's unused. Santa Barbara, California. And we have that cloth material again. I'm going to have to look up. This is New Hampshire, of a sunset. This is white birch trees also, New Hampshire, and that's 1937. And we have Newport, New Hampshire. It's Congregational Church, 1942. So this is all pre-World War II. Let's see. This is also a New Hampshire one. Copper Mine Camp. And there's a nice log cabin there, obviously alongside of a mountain stream brook or whatever. They're probably doing copper and gold in that mine. And then we have another one in New Hampshire. This is a library. It's kind of cool. On top of a mountain. It's just amazing. And let's see what we have here. This is New Hampshire, also Franconia. But it's just beautiful. These cards are absolutely amazing. And that's just, you know, there's a bunch of stacks here, and that's only maybe half of one row, and there's 2 rows, and actually it's probably even less than that. And then over here, I just want to show you, well, there's an old vehicle. Just, it's the beautiful, you know, they're absolutely gorgeous. This is like something you would see in Dillinger, you know. Look at those, probably I'm imagining they're redwoods, California or whatever. And just so many beautiful cards. And then there's these advertisement ones. Just going to show them to you real quick. I'm going to actually start up here and come down so you can read some of them. I would imagine most of these are probably from the 50s. I don't think any of these are used. And for the most part, this collection isn't somebody that that went to different flea markets and collected them. It was somebody that traveled the world, and you hear me say that a lot. And just a couple other from New Hampshire over here. I just wanted to show you that one there. This is some kind of a doll collection. It looks like they were made out of the old apples, small apples that they used to soak in like salt water or something, and they made dolls out of them. That's Salisbury Beach in Mass, and then that's, I believe, Cape Cod. And then these are all New Hampshire. No, that one there is Alaska. And all 3 of these, absolutely beautiful cards. And this is a antique shop in Hillsborough or something in the center of New Hampshire. And so anyways, the reason why I know that it's one person's collection is because of the people that they're addressed to in the family. They all came from one family. But I do have a package here for Paper Moose and Bargain Barons that I'm going to send up to them. Paper Moose, she's thinking about doing an ephemera show next spring, and I'm trying to help her out with some really cool cards. I know she was looking for some Yellowstone. And the Bargain Barons, they're pretty cool guys and gals, and they do some, they're pretty funny, and I enjoy watching them. But anyways, thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed this little tidbit of my postcard collection. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Tibbs out.